In the world of PR especially, a lot of people just think publicists as...
Welcome back to Between Bells, everyone. Joining us now are Jack Ketsoyan and Kevin Dickson, authors of the new book, Guilty Pleasure, which just hit bookstands yesterday. Jack and Kevin, Guilty Pleasure is a follow-up to your previous book, LA Times bestseller Blind Item, and it is inspired by real-life Hollywood scandals. Sounds pretty juicy to me. Indeed. What can readers expect from this new novel?
A lot. I mean, it just basically, we finally pulled the velvet rope behind what's going on in the world of Hollywood. You can now finally see what really goes down. In the world of PR especially, a lot of people just think publicists as some people who just walk their clients down the press line. Now you get to learn what really happens in behind the scenes and what publicists really do, the scandals and all the fun stuff that they have to make up or twist or fix, and all the problems that they have to fix at the same time.
All the fun stuff. Kevin, you guys say this is not a true story at all, but every story inside of it apparently is true. So that's some really good marketing on your guys' end. Yeah. But what's an example of a real-life Hollywood story that you actually did put in the novel?
We can't tell you that because we would get sued, but the thing is, Jack and I have worked in entertainment for like 20-ish years, and we've both worked in really strange ways within, like behind the velvet rope. We both had friends who were celebrities. We both went to a lot of parties. We saw a lot of things that no one really gets to see. And just as you write from what you know in your life, we really were able to come at it from a perspective where we actually have seen all of this stuff. We've been at these parties, we've done these things, we've kept these secrets, and because this book is a sequel, we had a group of people that we then had to honor and give them a love story and a life and a desperation, but we were able to frame it within a lot of things that we've seen, and a lot of the things that people have talked to me about in this book that are shocking, some of the more astounding things are all true. They've all happened. They're things that we've either witnessed or heard about firsthand, and we were able to sort of send our poor old characters on this horrible journey to love and discovery through some really awful celebrity scandals.
Ooh, really does sound juicy. All right, both of you have some serious experience in the world of celebrities, but from two different sides of the fence. Jack, let's go over to you. How did you two combine your different perspectives to write this story?
Well, I mean, Kevin and I come from this, Kevin and I have been friends for a long time, and when he worked at Life and Style, and that's how we kind of became best buddies. So it was easy because he had the perspective of working at the world of tabloid, and that's what me every day of my job had to deal with most of the time, to the scandals that was coming out or anything that needed to be killed. So it was kind of a good dynamic because he had that side of it, and I had the PR side of it, which is more we always protect our client, and the tabloid side is more they have to get the juice out and they have to find out what's really going down. So it was a kind of a good dynamic between him and I because we had two different perspectives, but it combines into one idea.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, and Jack, to stay with you really quickly, is the storyline of the book something that you've dealt with specifically working in PR, or is this just a celebrity scandal that you've heard of on all the red carpets and parties that you've been to?
It's actually scandals that I have dealt with in the past, and then on top of that, and then some other things that has happened when I worked, when I was at my old office.
And Kevin, we know
it's a combination of both, actually.
Okay.
Makes sense, makes sense. So Kevin, your experience, as Jack mentioned, is more along the lines of a journalist dealing with celebrities. Not to be confused with paparazzi, however, but how did your career help you build those relationships and really establish the trust with celebrities?
One thing that probably a lot of people don't realize is that at every tabloid, there's a person who has to call the representatives and clear a story, no matter what the story is, no matter how horrible the story is or how unlikely it is to be true. If your editor wants to publish it, you've got to call, whether it's Angelina Jolie's people, you've got to call and be like, hey, we have this, and then you will just receive a torrent of hate and abuse from that publicist. They'll do everything they can to stop that story, but if you've got photography, if you have a good story that's actually true, you have to push ahead and get a legal comment on it. So it's still, you have to be I'm a trained journalist. You have to go into this with an eye on the truth, and you have to try and get it past someone who can just go straight out and deny it the next day, regardless of whether it's true or not. So it's a tricky rope to walk.
And Jack, as Nora said earlier, this isn't your first book you guys have done together. You guys have another one out there called Blind Item, which is great because blind items were always my favorite things to read because you always try to guess what celebrity it could have been. So how are these two maybe, are they the same or is this a sequel that's after this? Is there any sort of similarities between these two books?
This is a sequel. It's a continuation of The Blind Item. Basically, all the characters are the same characters. There's couple of new characters in this one, but it's continuation of the story that from the first book.
And the first book is a doomed Hollywood love story. It has a lot of humor, but ultimately we didn't believe that love could work. But then when we got the opportunity to do a second book, we wanted to explore whether that love could work under the framework that it would be forced into, which would be secrecy and lies and the way Hollywood does have to work to kind of make a celebrity relationship that can advance someone's career, because the wrong relationship will sink a celebrity's career. We've seen that happen a million times. So in this book, we took all those people and threw them into a whole new adventure with the stakes are a lot higher.
And you
Well,
both
also
are...
in the first book, you get to know that she's sorry. In the first book, you get to learn that she's dating one of her clients. So that's like, that's the biggest scandal of the situation.
Juicy.
So scandalous. All right, you guys are both from the entertainment industry, as we mentioned. Are there two people for each of you that you really resonate with or relate to in the book? Jack, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Kevin.
Well, that's actually a really big secret. So can't really say much about that. So I'm going to give that to Kevin because everyone has been trying to figure out who I am in the book. So we're going to leave it to that.
People always think that I'm going to be Billy because there's a character who works at tabloids and in this book he does the job that I did, but he's basically more of a moral compass for the book, and in this second book he has a lot of tragedy, so I like him. He's not me in any way, but there's a character called Gaynor who's a veteran publicist. She's Colombian, she's crazy, she's of an indeterminate age. I would hazard she's probably in her 70s, but she's legally had her age changed about 4 times, so she's 48. She just is crazy. She's this big, huge personality, and she's so much fun to write. And she makes me laugh even when I think about her because she's so over the top. So I love her the most.
Oh, she sounds amazing.
She does. All right, dramatic and juicy, great stuff. Thank you both of you for joining us. Jack Ketsoyan and Kevin Dickson, authors of the new book, Guilty Pleasure.
All right, everybody, coming up on Between Bows, we're getting ready for National Rosé Day with the